Hi guys, welcome back to the Player YouTube channel. You join me today out having fun in a car that we're going to be reviewing for you that you've probably never heard of. Yes, it's quite new. It's so new in actual fact. They've only been in the country for about 3 or 4 months because this car is a Genesis. Yes, a Genesis. And you're probably going, a Genesis? Never heard of a Genesis. Who makes Genesis? Well, I'll tell you that in a minute. But one thing's for sure, this car did not get its name from the 80s rock band starring Phil Collins. No, it didn't. And it definitely didn't get its name from the Genesis, you know, the first Hebrew Bible, the first book of the Hebrew Bible. No, it didn't. Because if it had, the actual translation of Genesis from that means bear shit. So can you imagine at the product launch? And here we have today the latest car from bear shit. It comes from Hyundai. Yes, you've all heard of Hyundai. Hyundai is the South Korean manufacturer, also owns 30+% of Kia Motors. We love a Kia motor. We really like Kia Motors. We've never been able to actually do a review on a Hyundai. Maybe I just pronounce it wrong, but for some reason they don't want us to review their cars, and yet I think Kia Motors are fantastic. And at the end of this video, I will let you know how much I think of Genesis cars, or Genesis Motors as they're now called. So Genesis launched back in 2007 as Genesis Concept through Hyundai, and in 2015 it was such a success in certain parts of the world that Hyundai decided it was better that it was a standalone rather than just one of their brands. So that was really nice. So now you have Genesis Motors. It's still the luxury arm of Hyundai, you know, like the AMG to Mercedes, like Lexus is to Toyota. But it is, at the end of the day, its very own motor company. And this particular car is the G70 because there are a number of different cars available. The G series are the Saloons, and then you've got a SUV series as well. We'll hopefully get all of these reviewed over the next sort of 6 months. It's been a bit difficult with all the things going on in the world at the moment to get hold of cars, but we've managed to get this car. It is a luxury 4-door saloon, but not necessarily at a luxury price. That's what we're going to start talking about, because at the end of the day, is this the type of car you'd be looking to buy? Because it's virtually unknown here. I know it's been sold in America and the Far East and it's doing very well, but you know, what's the warranty like? What's the servicing like? What, you know, all the ins and outs. Well, that's what we're going to do today. So hopefully I'm going to let you know a good, honest review of the Genesis G70 Saloon. Let's crack on. First things first, I think you have to admit, it's got some serious curb appeal about this car. It's a very, very good looking car, albeit based on a lot of different cars that we currently see out on the road, like the Mercedes, for example. There's a bit of Bentley involved in this as well with that grille and the badge, and I think there's a bit of Aston Martin going on, a bit of Jaguar as well. I love the colour of this car. There's around 9 different colours to choose from, and there are 3 different trim levels as well. This is the premium line. It's the entry-level car. You get 18-inch alloys and pretty much everything as you see it here. If you jump up to the next level, you've got the luxury line, and then top of the range is the sport line. And with the sport line, you go up from the 18-inch alloys to 19-inch alloys with some nice coloured calipers. And round at the front, instead of the chrome grille, you get a black grille, which dictates you are driving the sport line. There's a couple of different engine choices. That's what we need to check out underneath this bonnet. So let's get on and do it. Right, the bonnet release catch is down here in the driver's footwell. Very easy, just a single pull. Don't forget, if you're driving a left-hand drive one, it's going to be in the passenger footwell because they're not going to be moving it around. So just to let you know that. Slightly off to the right for the bonnet release catch itself, which is here. So if you look at the front there, just go to the right and then you'll find it just over there. A couple of decent gas struts. That means, yes, luxury line at the end of the day, or luxury car, so it's going to get gas struts. I'm sort of half expecting things like that. Very light bonnet as well, which is really nice indeed. Couple of engine choices. So this particular car is the 2.2 litre turbo diesel engine. It develops around about 200 brake horsepower. It's got 400 Newton meters of torque, so it'll pull the hind legs off a donkey this, hence why you've got these extra struts in here like that. It will do 0 to 60 in around about 7.3 seconds. It's very respectable. Top speed of around 143 miles an hour. all very good. If you want a little bit more power, a little bit more bang for your buck, so to speak, there is a petrol variant available as well. It's a 2-litre 4-cylinder. It develops around about 243 brake horsepower. It will give you a little bit more top end. It'll give you a top speed of around about 157 miles an hour, but the 0 to 60 time drops rapidly down to about 6 seconds. That makes this pretty much a flying machine. Both of these engines are mated up to an 8-speed auto gearbox. There is no manual gearbox options. Is it me, or does this look very, very Mercedes C-Class with a little bit of Bentley thrown into it, maybe? You know, a bit of Bentley Continental in there. C-Classy. Look at the brake light up here in the window. Ooh, I wonder. And also that DAB. That looks very familiar, that DAB aerial. Anyway, putting that to one side, it's a good-looking rear as well. It just doesn't disappoint on any angle, this car. It just has that sort of real sort of cool look about it. I think it's a little bit overemphasized with all these badges and things. We don't need all that on there. It just looks nice, really plain. Another thing, it is a bit of a faux pas on this, is the design of this camera here, the rear parking camera. When that gets frosty or it's wet, it really is bad when it comes up on the screen in there. I think that should be moved maybe somewhere down here away from where it's going to get filthy dirty. And just above it is a tiny little button. I'll show you in a minute, because this actually has an electronically assisted rear boot. Can you believe that? It is luxury at the end of the day. Another thing I'm not too keen on is having the exhaust tailpipes just to one side. It just sort of unbalances it. I'd like to see either 2 double sets of pipes either side, or a single big pipe either side. I think it would just, you know, balance it all up really nicely. You get LEDs almost matching the front here, so they're split again, you know, top and bottom. That's quite nice. A little bit of aero going on down the bottom here, but apart from that, it's not bad looking. We can forgive it that. Right, I said I'll show you the button. I'm going to push the button now. You ready for this? Look, you've really got to be lazy, haven't you? Really properly lazy. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a saloon car. It's got a 330-litre boot on it. It's big enough. You're going to get a couple of decent-sized suitcases in there, and 100% you're going to get a set of golf clubs straight across the back there. So if you're away for the weekend, you can definitely dump your case in the back. You'll get your clubs in there. You possibly even get 2 sets in there, I reckon. Underneath here, I was really hoping that Genesis had put a spare wheel in here, even one of those space savers. But no, again, we've got this sort of waste of space pannier affair. And inside it is the inevitable, ridiculous puncture repair outfit with the latex and the pump. You know what I'm talking about. Throw these away. It's just a waste of money. They don't do anything. You can't repair a wheel. If you've clipped a wheel, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to end up calling the emergency services out. It's the only way you're going to get home. If you had a spare wheel in there, you know, really would make the difference. And there's nowhere to put it underneath here either. If I take this out, again, what is all this about? You know, why so much money spent on all this plastic as well? And in here, there is a battery. They've put a battery in there. They could have made this, you know, there's a big enough area here to put a spare wheel in there. Anyway, I've gone on enough about it. Let's put this back in again. Luckily, you can do this fairly easily to get it in and out once you get it in position. It just seems to be, to me, to be a little bit of a waste. No 12-volt adapters anywhere to be seen. No shopping bag holders, but I'll be honest, I wasn't really expecting that. One thing I would have expected, a little bit more classy on the back here, because this is definitely going to get really scratched when you're putting cases in and out of here. I can see that. Unless either that or you're going to put your back out badly, because you're going to have to lift it over. So I would have liked to have seen something on here to protect this, which is a shame, because there is quite a big lip down here. It's got to be about 2 inches, that much, drop down there. So as the case goes in, it's going to drop down. Just a few bits and pieces that I think if it was me designing the car, I'd make, you know, special attention to. Anyway, we'll let it do its thing again. It's rather nice, isn't it? A lot of effort's gone into that. Someone's spent a lot of time designing that. Let's go and have a look, see what it's like for the passengers. Right, let's check in the back, see what it's like for the passengers. And first up, I have noticed how nice the rake is on this door here. It allows you a lot of access, easy access. If you put in, for example, a baby seat in here, which I very much doubt you will be, but ever there was that need to, it's going to be a lot easier. Or if you were helping an elderly person in or out, it's going to make life a lot easier. What doesn't, and I'm going to show you in a second after I've just noticed, Heated rear seats in this car. How lovely is that? You've got a 3-stage heated rear seat in there. Love it. Oh, one more thing as well. The windows go all the way down. Tested that earlier. So, you know, like in a lot of modern cars, they only go to about here, or even in some even come down halfway, which is absolutely ridiculous. You want a window, you want it to open, don't you? Decent size as well. Anyway, I was going to say, watch this. When you climb in, look how tight it is. The drop there, you really have to sort of angle yourself to get in because it's so low. I mean, it's perfect if you're very short. That's all I'm going to say. If you're rather short stature, you'll be absolutely fine getting in and out of here. Another thing I've noticed, the rear seats have been cut out to give it the impression that you've got more leg room. Now, I've put this in the normal driving position. In actual fact, I'm going to be honest with you, I've moved it forward about that much because that's the way I drive, because I like it quite way back. But I can still get in and out. But look, down here, my feet, there's not a lot of room in the back here. And for a car that I was expecting to be more, you know, somebody who's going to be sat in the back and be potentially driven around, I'm a little bit disappointed in that. I'm also disappointed with the Granny's fishnet stockings in the back here again. We've gone on about this so many times. There is no need for this. It's just extra expense for basically for nothing, because there's nothing to store in here. You're not going to leave anything in here. So what is the point? There you go. Just a personal opinion, I will say that. Another thing that is lacking in the back here is a bit of tech. First up, there's only one USB to be shared between, you know, whoever's sitting in the back here. I think that's rather poor. They should have at least 2 USBs. Secondly, a car of this sort of, you know, purported stature, you know, the luxury sort of saloon line, I would have thought you would have independent rear heating. This has just got a, you know, a vent, and you can turn it on and off or angle it left or right. And that is very disappointing. What is not disappointing, and I'm really, you know, I find it quite nice, is the colour and the actual feel of this fabric. It's really nice in the back here. And I love the fact that they're heated seats as well. There are Isofix points here, and they're the poppy-inny ones, so they don't come out, and you're not going to lose them, and kids aren't going to chew them. So if you have got kids in the back here, you're not going to end up losing those and having to buy new ones and looking unsightly. You've got a nice sort of pop-down armrest in the middle with a double cup holder. It's quite nice and neat the way it's all been done, and I like that. There's no ski hatch, so don't think you're going skiing for the weekend, because that's not happening. That is solid there, and unfortunately you're not going to be able to use the car for that. But there again, you can always have someone follow you with all the junk in the back of their car, can't you? And just say, well, I can't get it in mine. Didn't think of that, did you? A couple of decent LED courtesy lights up the top there, rather nice. And yeah, all in all, really good. You know, it's nice, it's comfortable. That's the main thing. But this, you know, this sort of centre tunnel here, have you seen how high it is? It's going to be really difficult to get my leg over there, but I'm going to give it a go. In the absolute interests of journalism, let's put it that way, I need to test if you can get someone in the middle here, because this car, obviously being, you know, the well, what can I say? The South Korea's answer to the Mercedes. There we go. I think that's a good way. I'm going to be showing this off to everyone at work, aren't I? Yes, I'm going to be offering Olivia and Jessica from reception a little, you know, little lunchtime pizza express, if you get where I'm going with this. There we go. I think she just heard me. She's just sent me a text saying, I'll be ready around about 1:30. And I need to check whether when I'm sitting here on the way back, because obviously I'm going to get Stephen who from accounts who's going to drive me back after I've had a few Pepsis too many, whether we're going to get Olivia and Jessica sat either side of me, and with their heated seats on, it could get quite fruity in the back here. But the one thing for sure is the three of us could sit here quite comfortably, and you've got a decent sunroof there as well. So if you do happen to slide forward a little bit, then you know, you're going to be able to look out the window while you're driving along as well. All in all though, definitely get 3 people in the back here. I think that's where I'm going with that one. Let's go and have a look around the front, because I think at the end of the day, a lot of this really is down to the driver, who's going to be driving this car, and is it equipped well enough to compete? Let's find out. Okay, just before I jump in and we check it out for the driver, I just want to mention on all 3 trim levels with the G70, you do get electronically adjusted front seats, both sides, which is great. I'm going to jump in and check out those seats right now. And I've got to say, it is extremely comfortable. They're well bolstered. They're in a great position as well, so you're not offset in any way. Got a decent steering wheel on here as well. But before we talk about the steering wheel, Let's start on the right hand side. So there's a panel to the right. You've got the boot release button here. They're touch sensitive, which is really nice. In the center, you've got the button that does the petrol cap as well. And on the right hand side, you've got the luminosity button. We love a luminosity button. So basically you can change the luminosity in here. Just push that down and it will go down, or you can push it up again like that. It's really good. Nice little bits and pieces like that where you can adjust how you like the car to be. Car is electronically keyed. It's a keyless ignition and a keyless entry on this car, and I do like the key actually. Look at that, it's rather nice. It's a lovely shape, it's got a lovely feel to it as well. The only problem is, I was going to pop it in there, but before I do that, would have been nice to have had a little space maybe here just to pop the key in. Again, you know, just giving ideas about how I would probably do that, because it's such a nice key, it would look nice. Otherwise, you know, it's either going to rattle around in there. You can't put it there because that's where the handbrake is and things like that. And you don't want it there because that's where you're charging your phone. So the only other real place is in there. And it has got some carpety stuff in there, so it's not going to make a noise, but it's just in the way. It would be nice to have its own little place. Inside your glove box in the centre here, which also doubles up as your armrest, obviously, you've got another USB there for your charging. We like that. Again, though, there could be two in there. It would be handy if you had two phones. You know, just saying. Double cup holder, at least there's two cup holders, so you can get two cups in there. In the centre section here, 8-speed auto, we've mentioned that earlier, very simple to use, you know, pull back for drive, forward for reverse, and there's your park button there. Nice and simple. You've got your handbrake button here, you've got your camera buttons here as well, you've got your stability control on and off here as well if you do want to change that, and then you've got your drive mode button here as well. I'm going to mention the drive mode button because I do like this little button. It's really actually cool. I'm going to shut the door because I want to show you what happens in the center of the screen here. When you actually turn the button, so if you turn it to the left, for example, you're in the eco mode, it goes blue. And if you turn it to the right, you go into the comfort mode and it goes an orangey color. And then when you go down to sport mode, the actual seat starts to hug you a little bit more. It comes in, it compresses from the sides. So if you're in sport mode, I mean, it does go okay, but you're going to be held in your seat much better. And don't forget, you've got flappy paddles here as well, which is really nice. So you know, use it in a manual mode as well. It's all really nice. I like that. Keep it in the button there, on the park button. And then you've got a Sports Plus mode. It doesn't change colour, but what it does do, it turns the traction control off. Yeah. And this car, weighing in at just under 2 tonnes, I wouldn't want to be driving this around the main roads without the traction control on. And I certainly wouldn't have this out on the track, so I really see no point in that one. Having a sport mode's quite nice. So there's 4 modes, there you go. Now you know, and that's the mode button there. You've got wireless charging for your Apple device, I have to say that. Then you've got a couple of other charging options here as well, and a 12 volt, there's a USB there. It's all nicely laid out, really nice, and I love the feel of it as well. It's got a real sort of soft touch to it. And it's, you know, it's not scratchy and noisy either. You've got heated and cooled seats in this car. So your cooling buttons are down there. I don't really want them on today. And you've got 3 stages on them. Heating I will put on because it's always extra nice. You get a heated steering wheel and the on-off buttons there. Again, it's 2 stages. Decent sized knobs. Come on guys, look at those. They are proper knobs. Now, you know I love a decent sized knob, and I've always gone on about it, especially when you've got gloves on in the winter. You get in here, you don't want a screen where you've got to try and find your aircon and it's all cold and button use. You need to leave your gloves on, keep your hands warm, and then fiddle with your knobs. And this really has some lovely knobs in it. I love these big silver nailed knobs. Very easy just to dial in your temperature, what you need, push your buttons on and off. Just makes things life nice and easy. And again, instead of just having everything on a TFT touchscreen up here, you've got these separate buttons here. You've got the map, the nav system, you push that, you're ready. You could do all this with your gloves on as well. They're not sort of, you know, you haven't got to have your bare fingers on. The other thing, people laugh about me saying about knobs and that, but when you've got wet hands as well, if it's raining, you get in this car and you're trying to slide your finger on a screen like that, again, it's a nightmare. But, you know, if you've got knobs, there you go. Knobs are the way. There's a volume knob, and we've also got a media knob here, so we can switch stations on the media. Your stop-start button is here, top right-hand side. So you just put your foot on the brake and touch that, and that will start your engine up there. All in all, you've got a really lovely digital cockpit here. I love that, absolutely stunning. You've got your flappy paddles, I mentioned that. To the right here, I'm going to discuss this more when we get out on the road, are your car control systems, so your safety systems. We'll talk about that out on the road. Bottom left-hand side here is more your media centre and media controls. Again, we'll do all the steering when we get out on the road. One last thing before we do actually get this car out on the road, glove box. You've got to check this out, guys. Now, when we talk about owner's manuals, how about owner's boxes? This is an owner's box. Look at this. It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to open it up for you. It's a hardback box that's been made, and it slides open like that. Look at that. And you've got your Genesis G70 manual. This is as big as a Bible. Look at how many pages do I need to tell me next to nothing that I can't find out on the internet or on YouTube. And this big box, and then just to top it, I've got to finish this one off for you, 29 languages of how to use your sat-nav in any language. It's just worth reading. Just have a look at it. It's so much fun. And then couple that together with something to do with your internet there or something. Throw that all in there. What was the point in having a glove box? It's just full up with 2 Bibles, basically, at the end of the day. Let's get it out on the road. Let's see what the G70 goes like, and then give you our final evaluation of this car from Genesis. So here we are out on the road in the Genesis G70, and the first thing you're going to notice is the silence. It's a very, very quiet car. The insulation on this car is excellent. That diesel engine, you wouldn't even know it was a diesel. And to be honest, when you put it into the sport mode, it actually gives it a bit of a growl. It doesn't sound like a diesel engine at all whatsoever. Peripheral vision on this car, superb. Very, very nice thin pillars here, non-obstructive, non-obtrusive. Great big mirrors on this car as well. I love the mirrors. They do have this, I love this, I've got to tell you about this. They do have blind spot mirrors on this car. Now this car benefits from a heads-up display, which I really love. Standard heads-up display, speedo on there, speed sign recognition, things like that. But what it also has are blind spot mirrors in your heads-up display. Genius, absolute genius, because you're driving along, I don't need to look in the mirror now. If someone goes past me, just a tiny little mirror pops up in your heads-up display. Just a little flicker, little orange flicker, and you know someone is there. Another thing which I really like, and we're coming up to a junction and I can demonstrate this, is put your left-hand indicator on, camera comes up in the digital cockpit in the cluster there. So instead of now your speedometer, I have a camera so I can see down that left-hand side of the car. So if, for example, I was on a motorway or dual carriageway, I'm indicating left, I would see any of the cars that were down on my blind spot there. Likewise, the tachymeter or the rev meter on the right-hand side also acts as a camera. So if I indicate right like so, the camera will pop up again in that little area. Now, we did actually review this a few weeks ago. If you've ever seen our review on the Kia Sorento, the big 7-seater family SUV, that's also got that. And I really loved it. And it was such a nice thing to have on a big car. But I think obviously with the influence from Kia and part of the Hyundai group, you're going to get little crossovers and bits like that, which is brilliant because they do make exceptionally good cars at Kia. I've got to keep harping on about this. We do love a Kia motor. So there you go. So you've not only got it on your heads-up display, but you've also got it on your digital instrument cluster as well. Speaking of safety aids, this car is jammed full of them. And you know, you would expect that on a luxury saloon car. However, this one comes with a few extra bits and pieces that I really like. You've got the front and rear autonomous braking. If you're not sure what that is, basically it's something that you might not see in front of you. It's a little bit too low, or in your blind spot at the rear there. This car will pick up on that and it will physically take over and brake the car. So if there's a cat or a dog or something behind you, you don't see it, or a toddler, for heaven's sake, you know, God forbid, that would be terrible. This car would see that and obviously it would stop and you wouldn't do any damage to anybody or any living thing, which I think is great. You've got forward collision avoidance as well on this. Now, a lot of cars nowadays, very oversensitive when it comes to the forward collision avoidance. And that basically senses if there's an impending accident. So, i.e. you're driving at a certain speed and it's working, the computer's working it all out. And some of the cars, when I say oversensitive, is a very loud audible warning, like a beep, 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 and this whole sort of digital cluster here lights up red, and you know, it frightens the life out of you almost points of you you actually hit the brake, but the car will brake in the eventual event that it really feels you are going to have an accident. But this one's, I'm pleased to report, not as oversensitive as some that I've tested. So we're not going to name names, but this is fairly good, and I would actually trust it. I like that. I think it's quite good. Another good thing about this car is the cameras on board the car. So you've got a really good all-round reversing camera, which comes up on your TFT screen here, which is excellent. You've also got the parking beepers, safety beepers front and rear. Again, you know, really, really good for parking and manoeuvring the car. Another thing I want to mention about the car is the sound system in this car. Really good. It's got a surround sound system in the car. I love using it. It's great when you link it up to your tune. It's got DAB radio, FM radio, things like that. Again, excellent to have, but it's better to have through your Apple CarPlay or your Android mirroring, or simply just use your Bluetooth connection. And that all works through that absolutely brilliantly. I promised you while we were talking about upfront for the driver, we would talk about the steering wheel. So I'm going to do that now. On your right hand side here, I mentioned briefly, these are your car driving aids. So this is your cruise control, your speed limiter, you've got your distance control, you've got your lane keepy on this car as well. And on the top left hand side here, we have a button which changes your trip computer in the center there, which can give you everything from you've got tyre pressures, you've got your compass, you've got your actual accumulated information with your driving, like your amount per gallon you're actually getting. And that's, you know, pretty much what all that button does there. You've got a knurl button in the middle there, which adjusts your cruise control for you. And then on the right hand side, you've got a button which moves up and down when you're actually in your trip computer mode here as well. It's very easy to use, especially when you're on the road. Don't really need to look down. Once you've got used to where everything is, it's quite simple, and very simple to set your cruise control and things like that as well. Left hand side, media control. You've got a telephone system on the bottom left. You've got your Ask Genesis button top left. So basically, you just push that button. You say, take me to the nearest burger bar. I need a burger. I need some sustenance. I need a beer or whatever, and it'll find the local place, or petrol stations, things like that. You've got a star button down the bottom right. You can allocate that with a number of different commands, like cancel route guidance, for example. Just push that, and then when it's pre-programmed, it will do that command for you, which is good. Then you've got your mode button up here on the top right. The mode button itself will change between FM radio, DAB, for example, into your, you know, media or whatever you're playing. So you can switch between those. Obviously, the volume button is your knurl button, and the right-hand side is your station changer. There you go. And as you can see, we also get a verbal warning, or an audible warning, when we go over the center of the white lines. It picks that up as well. That can be turned off because that can become really, really annoying. Okay, on to the most important parts of this car, which are obviously economy and price and warranty. Let's talk about economy. So Genesis have told us between 44 and 45 to the gallon, and that's urban combined. I haven't had a chance to run this on the motorway to give a full evaluation of it, but one thing I can tell you, around town we are currently getting just shy of 29 to the gallon, which for a 2.2 litre diesel engine I think is pretty good. I was expecting perhaps 29 to 32s, so we're in the ballpark, which is good. I do feel on a run, 70 miles an hour, cruise control, over an hour or so, we might get up into the late 30s, potentially just over the 40s. But I'd have to test that to find out. So slightly shy of the 44 to 45 that Genesis predict. But nevertheless, still pretty good for a 2.2 diesel engine. Price-wise, let's talk price. Entry-level car, around about 34,000 UK pounds. Not bad. I think it's actually really good value for money. If you go for the top levels, you will be paying 39 to 40,000 UK pounds for a car. That's with everything on it, sport line. You can check all into that when you go online. You need to book yourself a test drive in one of these cars, because I think you are going to be pleasantly surprised when you get behind the wheel of one of these cars. Booking a test drive couldn't be simpler. Just go to the Genesis website and they will come and deliver it for you. Oh yes, they'll come and pop it round to you. Whether that stays the same over the next few years, I don't know. At the current state of affairs, when we record this video for you guys, they were delivering the cars, because as far as I'm aware, there aren't any Genesis showrooms currently. That might change in the future. You get it's a lovely system, the way this the Genesis have set this up. So basically you get, it's not really a concierge service, it's a customer assistant that is assigned to you when you purchase one of these cars. And that customer assistant will make sure they will take care of all your maintenance, your servicing, anything on the warranty, you know, any bits and pieces like that. They will book your service in for you, they will send out a car for you, they will swap it over, take your car for servicing. This is all included in your 34 grand. Just wanted to mention that. So you get 5 years of this, or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first, with your customer service assistant, which is really nice. So he or she will ring you up and just say, right, you're ready for your service, Mr. Smith or whatever. We'll come and collect your car. How lovely is that? And they don't actually regard you as a customer. No. You are regarded as a guest. Yes, a guest. And they actually have, I think it's called Son Min. That's I'm not sure of the actual Korean word. It's I don't want to pronounce it either, because you know what it's like if you start trying to say in another language and you say it wrong and it ends up something like, you know, jellyfish or something like that. So I'm not going to use the Korean word for that, but you get my drift. You are a customer. You're not a customer. You're a guest. You're a guest of Genesis. There you go. Included in that warranty as well, you get the roadside assist. You also get emergency assist as well. Basically, you cannot go wrong when you buy one of these cars. Everything is covered, and you get your little assistant that will ring you up and sort everything out in the event that something does go wrong. Bit of a no-brainer if you ask me. There you have it, guys. That was the G70 Genesis, and what a car. Absolutely loved test driving that, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget, like, subscribe and comment, and if you've got any comments, just leave them in the box down below and one of us will get back to you as soon as possible. You can always leave your own comment regarding what you think of the car, or if you need to know more about the spec on the car, then by all means ask. If you want to subscribe, that's fantastic, but don't forget, leave the bell sign unchecked, because whenever we get new videos, you're going to get updated, and we do a lot of videos, as you probably are aware nowadays, because we are part of The Player, and The Player is a 220-page bookazine for us guys, for us men. You can see me picking it up now, and any second now you're going to see exactly what's inside that book as well. There are sort of motorcycles, there's cars, there's boats, there's holidays, there's golf, there's food reviews, there's everything, jet skis, you name it, it's all in that book. It's a men's lifestyle bookazine, and it comes out every 3 months. Now, if you want to get your hands on a copy of that, the online version, can't actually send you out the big main copy because that costs around £100 per copy, whereas the online version you can have completely free of charge. Just go to www.theplayer.co.uk. Hang on a minute, let me bring that in. There you go. So it's down there now. Leave it there for a few seconds. Memorize that. Head over there, look for the register tab or the subscribe tab. Just go there. All you need is your name and an email address. So there's no data capture. Do I look like data capture? No, didn't think so. Get your name in there, get your email address in there. You can download it, you can view it online. You've got 220 pages, as I say, of all the things that us guys absolutely love, completely free of charge. If you want to buy the book, by all means do. That's also available on the website. You can do that yourself. Big hardback book. We'll mail it out to you anywhere in the world. As I said, guys, thanks for watching this week. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Something very, very special coming next week. Can't wait to show you. Can't wait to get my hands on it. Until then, stay safe.